with the Queen. So we are here. Queen Elizabeth II, Alexandra Mary, was born on the 21st of April 1926, and she died on 8th of September 2022. Was Queen of the United Kingdom and the other Commonwealth realms from 6th of February 1952 until her death in 2022. So, what are we saying? We are saying that she was queen regna of 32 different sovereign states during her life and served as monarch of 15 of them at the time of death. We will move on to see why Queen Elizabeth II is important in the history. Queen Elizabeth II ushered the monarchy into a new and radically different era. Her reign blended the ancient and the modern when she became queen. The country was still reeling from the memory of Second World War. Her coronation and coronation in 1953 was the first royal event of its kind to be broadcast live on television. So that is it, as it is moving from strength to strength with all the characteristics and the emanation. What are five different facts about Queen Elizabeth? So we have some facts, not only five, there are more facts, interesting facts we are going to see about Queen Elizabeth II of England. And those facts goes thus. The British royal family. The British royal family on Thursday announced the death of Queen Elizabeth II at the age of 96 years. A statement from the royal family on Twitter said the respected monarch died peacefully. So, the death of Queen Elizabeth II was a peaceful one, as reported by the royal family. Here are 10 interesting facts about the late monarch. She was not born in a place, although we say she was not born in a palace, although she was the first child of the Duke and Duchess of York. The future King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, and the eldest granddaughter of King George V. Queen Elizabeth II was not born in a palace. She was instead born in a townhouse in London, not born in a townhouse that belongs to her Scottish maternal grandparents, the Earl and the Countess of South Strathmore on 21st April 1926. She was homeschooled. Queen Elizabeth II was educated at home alongside her only sibling, Princess Margaret, who was born in 1930. The two princesses were educated under the supervision of their mother and their governors, Marion Crawford. They were taught lessons concentrated on history, language, literature, and music. She was in the Kenyan when father died. How are you today? She was in Kenya when father died. Queen Elizabeth II was in Kenya with her husband, Prince Philip, when her father, King George VI, died in 1952. Philip broke the news of King George VI's death to his wife while they were alone during a trip to Kenya. So, what are we saying here? We are sharing some interesting facts about Queen Elizabeth so far as her demist is concerned, and we get to know more of the most important and interesting things about Queen Elizabeth during her reign till when she departed onto this earth. So she became queen at the age of 25 years. She was very young when she became Queen of England, right? Her father, King George VI, died at the age of 56 years on February 6, 1952, while Elizabeth was visiting Kenya with her husband, Prince Philip. Queen Elizabeth II was crowned at Westminster, Westminster Abbey in central London on June 2, 1953. She became the and the head of 7 independent Commonwealth countries after her coronation. The 25-year-old Queen Elizabeth II became Queen Regnant of 7 independent Commonwealth countries. These countries were the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Pakistan, and Ceylon, known today as Sri Lanka, that is Ceylon, known today as Sri Lanka, as well as the head of Commonwealth. So she was the first British monarch to visit the Republic of Ireland. Queen Elizabeth II visited the Republic of Ireland in 2011 with the highly charged visit, making her the first British monarch to visit the country since it won independence in 1922. She toured every region of Britain ahead of her Diamond Jubilee. Queen Elizabeth II toured every region of Britain ahead of the 4-day party in June to mark the Jubilee, while other royals made visits across the Commonwealth. She was the head of 54 Commonwealth nations across the globe. The Commonwealth comprises 54 nations, and Queen Elizabeth II was the head of these nations before her death. Her father, King George VI, was the first monarch to be formally styled as head of the Commonwealth. She was the most traveled monarch in the history, as we all know. Queen Elizabeth II holds the record for the most countries visited by an individual monarch. She visited more than 120 countries on 6 continents. Canada is the country she traveled to more than any other country outside the United Kingdom. That is why we say she was the most traveled monarch that have ever existed as we get to know it. So she was the longest serving British monarch so ever because Queen Elizabeth II reigned of 70 years and 7 months is the longest of any British monarch that have ever existed. So that is something great for us to know that Queen Elizabeth was the longest serving monarch? How did Queen Elizabeth II became the queen? That is another $1,000 question that is need to be answered and addressed properly. How did she become queen? So we are going to tell you how she became queen. Becoming queen following the death of King George VI, Princess Elizabeth Alexander. So, London, Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's longest serving monarch, whose broadly popular 7 decade reign survived tectonic shifts in her country's post imperial society and world health successive challenges posed by the romantic choices, missteps, and imbroglios of her descendants. Died on Thursday at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. Her summer retreat, she was 96 years old. The royal family announced her death online, saying she had died peacefully. The announcement did not specify a cause. Her death elevated her eldest son, Charles, to the throne as King Charles III. In a statement, he said, that is King Charles III, the next monarch after Queen Elizabeth, as we all know, that is the successor of Queen Elizabeth, as we can see. So, and that is how it's going to be. The royal family announced her death online. And how did it happen? It was being done in a peaceful manner and in a way that there was no complication in the announcement of her death. That is how it happens. So Queen Elizabeth has given up the ghost, and we have nothing to add rather than saying her soul should rest in perfect peace as she joins her ancestors. Her death elevated her eldest son, Charles, to the throne as King Charles III. In a statement, he died. The death of my beloved mother, Her Majesty the Queen, is a moment of the greatest sadness for me and all members of my family. We mourn profoundly the passing of our cherished sovereign and a much loved mother. I know her loss will be deeply felt throughout the country, the realms, and the Commonwealth, and by countless people around the world. That is how it was. Our Queen. We can see from Queen Elizabeth II to King Charles III, Prince William, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis, Prince Henry, Arch Mountbatten Whitson, Elizabeth Mountbatten Whitson. So earlier Thursday, Buckingham Palace said that the Queen had been placed under medical supervision and that her doctors were concerned about her health. She had to remain at Balmoral for much of the summer. On Wednesday evening, she abruptly cancelled a virtual meeting with members of her privy council after her doctors advised her to rest. So she was about taking the rest when she decided to cancel some meetings with her partner. A day earlier, she met with the incoming Conservative Prime Minister, Liz Truss, the 15th Prime Minister the Queen dealt with during her reign. Though, in doing so, because of infirmity, she broke with long-standing tradition by receiving her at Balmoral rather than at Buckingham Palace as usual. Elizabeth's long years as sovereign were a time of enormous upheaval in which she sought to project and protect the royal family as a rare bastion of prominence in a world of shifting values. Queen Elizabeth II, alive in photos, as we can see, so at her coronation on June 2, 1953, a year after she ascended to the throne, she surveyed a realm emerging from an empire of such geographical reach that it was said the sun never set on it. But by the new century, as she navigated her advancing years with increasingly fiercely, the frontiers had strung back as Britain prepared to leave the European Union in 2020. A clamour for independence in Scotland was rekindled, potentially threatening to narrow her horizons yet further. So, her coronation was the first royal event of its kind to be broadcast almost in full on television, but it was a token of the changes and global fascination that accompanied her time as queen, that her reign became the subject of a Hollywood movie and a blockbuster series on Netflix, while her family's travels offer voluminous grace to the busy mind of social media. So, just as telling in the chronicles of her rule, Britain's unique and unquestioning difference to the crown had been supplemented by a gamut of emotions, ranging through loyal and often affectionate tolerance to unbridled hostility. The monarchy was forced more than ever to justify its existence in the face of often skeptical public attention and security. Elizabeth, though, remained determinedly committed to the hallmark aloofness, formality, and pageantry by which the monarchy has long sought to preserve a mystic that and underpin its existence and survival. Her courtly and reserved manner changed little as the coronavirus pandemic of 2020 spread to Britain, forcing people to suspend their normal lives and social ways. The Queen left Buckingham Palace in central London for Windsor Castle, west of the capital, a move that recalled the decades she had spent inspiring genuine affection among many Britons. So, when we talk of Queen Elizabeth II, it means a lot of things that she have done to the world and to the people of her country in general. So it hasn't been that easy, but she tried her best, her possible best, to be up the task, and she was really up to that. That is why we keep to say it is the greatest monarch that have ever reigned. It was to his son that she had and her younger sister Margaret were sent to escape the threat of German bombardment after the outbreak of World War II in 1939. It was from Windsor, so that she made her first radio broadcast as a princess in 1940. Age 14, ostensibly directed at British children who had been evacuated to North America, according to her biography, Ben Pilot, but also intended to swear official thinking in Washington, which had not yet entered the world yet. So, my sister, Margaret Rose, and I feel so much for you, as we know from experience that it means to be away from those we love most of all, Elizabeth said then. In 2022, she sought to equate her plight with that of her subject. Many of us we need to find new ways of staying in touch with each other and making sure that loved ones are safe, she said in a statement released after she and her husband, Prince Philip, arrived at Windsor. I am certain that we are up to that challenge. You can be assured that my family and I stand ready to play our part. On April 5th, 2020, in a televised address that evoked her 1940 broadcast, she urged her subjects to fight the virus with the same bulldog tenacity that wartime protons had shown. It was only the fourth special broadcast of her monarchy outside of her scheduled TV appearances at Christmas. I hope in the years to come, everyone will be able to take pride in how they responded to this challenge, she said, and those who came and come after us will say that the Britons of these generations were as strong as any. She added, we should take comfort that while we may have more still to endure, better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again. The last time, the last line, a direct reference to the wartime song by Vera Lynn, we will meet again, says Her Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. In 2017, Elizabeth celebrated the 70th anniversary of her marriage to Philip, whom she first met when he was a teenager in the 1930s. Until his death last April, Philip had settled into an unusual role, usually two steps behind his wife, providing her with stoic support even if his occasional tactless comment hurt his image. Despite many reports of early peccadilloes on Philip's part hidden from public view with the help of cooperative newspaper barons, their bonds endured a throwback to earlier decades of more durable relationships between Queen Elizabeth II and Phillips. Antoinette Ma, hello. Hope you are doing great. Yeah, we are paying our last homage to the Queen of England, the longest serving monarch to have ever lived. We're trying to glance through some of her past life and what she has done so far to the world. So, despite many reports, as we see here, some predicted that Elizabeth would recede into the shadows after Philip's death, much as Queen Victoria did after the death of her husband, Prince Albert. But she surprised many by reemerging as a spry presence in public life, entertaining world leaders at the summit meeting in Cornwall in June 2021 and playing host to Bill Gates and other business people at Windsor Castle after a climate change investment conference. Still, the hectic schedule took a role. Elizabeth was photographed using a walking stick, a rare occasion to her stiff knees. She was nailed and kept overnight in a London hospital in October 2021 after what others was said was an sort of exhaustion. Few doubted she had to take some rest and get back to work only later that season. So in 1992, Prince Charles and his immensely popular wife Diana agreed to separate, as did Prince Andrew and his wife Sarah Ferguson. Elizabeth's second child, Princess Anne, divorced her husband, Mark Philip, the same year, coupled with a series of other upheavals. The Queen labeled 1992 her annus horribilis. That was why she labels that period to this name. So in 1977, the death of Diana in a crush in Paris wrote some of the darkest chapters of Elizabeth. So that is some of the darkest moments in her reign, and for a while, the monarchy itself seemed threatened by a huge wave of public support for Diana that left the Queen seeming cold and emotionally estranged from her subject. The monarchy survived, but well into the 21st century, new challenges emerged. In 2019, Queen Elizabeth was dragged unceremoniously and against all previous rules of protocol into political machinations over Brexit. The Brexit vote, as Britain's withdrawal from the European Union was known, a debate from which she will once have remained remote. In the same year, Prince Andrew became enrolled in scandal after giving a actual television interview in which he seemed unaware of the toxic impact of a friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted American. That is how we saw it with how Queen Elizabeth have lived her life, all the ups and downs, all the rainy and the sunny days that Queen Elizabeth have been through. So I think we have covered something big about Queen Elizabeth. So that is it. Queen Elizabeth have passed on, and we are trying to find and console the family as well, as everybody knows Queen Elizabeth to be mother of Commonwealth nations, and we are trying to also uh, throw more light on her reign to this level where she ended up. So Elizabeth II. Elizabeth II Alexandra Mary, 21 April 1926, 8 September 2022. That is when she died, and that is when she was born. Was Queen of the United Kingdom and the other Commonwealth realms from 6 February 1952 until her death in 2022. She was Queen Regna of 32 sovereign states during her life and served as monarch of 15 of them at the time of her death. A reign of 70 years and 2,214 days is the longest of any British monarch and the longest record of any female head of state in the history so far. So she have created history with her longing, with her savings, as she has been in record. So Queen of the United Kingdom and the other Commonwealth realm. What other realms were under the control of the Queen of England? We can see Canada, 1952 to 2022, Australia, 1952 to 2022, New Zealand, 1952 to 2022. These are the 32 reigns under Queen Elizabeth as she reigned till when she departed. We have South Africa, 1952 to 1961, Pakistan, 1952 to 1956, Ceylon, that is present day Sri Lanka, 1952 to 1972, Ghana, 1957 to 1960, Nigeria, 1960 to 1963, Sierra Leone, 1961 to 1971, Tanganyika, 1961 to 1962, Jamaica, 1962 to 2021, Trinidad and Tobago, 1962 to 1976, Uganda, 1962 to 1963, Kenya, 1963 to 1964, Malawi, 1964 to 1966, Malta, 1964 to 1974, The Gambia, 1965 to 1970, Guyana, 1966 to 1970, Barbados, 1966 to 2021, Mauritius, 1968 to 1992, Fiji, 1970 to 1987, the Bahamas, 1973 to 2022, Grenada, 1974 to 2022, Solomon Islands, 1978 to 2022, Tuvalu, 1978 to 2022, Saint Lucia, 1979 to 2022, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, 1979 to 2022, Belize, 1981 to 2022, St. Kitts and Nevis, 1983 to 2022. Those are the 32 remnants under Queen Elizabeth II of England. Reign. She reigns from 6 February 1952 to 8 of September 2022. Coronation. She was coronated on the 2nd of June 1953. That is when she became the Queen of England. Predecessor George VI. Successor Charles III. She has been succeeded by Charles III, a son. So that is the new monarch, new British monarch. So Princess Elizabeth of York was born on the 21st of April 1926, Mayfair, London, United Kingdom. Died on 8th of September 2022, age 96 years old, Balmoral Castle, United Kingdom. King George IV Memorial Chapel, St. Charles and George, that is Beria. So we are going to end here for today until when it happens that we have to come back and throw more light on the demist of our precious queen. So Beria, we have King George V, that was Memorial Chapel, St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle, Spurs, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, 1947 and died in 2021. Issue Charles III, Dito, and Princess. Those are the children of Queen Elizabeth II. We have Charles II and Princess Royal, Princess Andrew, Duke of York, Princess Edward Earl of Wessex. So named Elizabeth Alexandra Mary. That is her name, and that was her name. House Windsor. Father George VI. Mother Elizabeth Bowes Leon. So that is what we can say about the Queen of England. Elizabeth was born in Mayfair, London, as the first child of the Duke and Duchess of York. Later, King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. Her father acceded to the throne in 1936 upon the addition of his brother, King Edward VIII, making Elizabeth the heir presumptive. She was educated privately at home and began to undertake public articles and public duties during Second World War, serving in the auxiliary, tertiary, and territorial services. In November 1947, she married Philip Mountbatten, a former prince of Greece and Denmark, and their marriage lasted 73 years until his death in April 2021. They had four children, as earlier mentioned. When her father died in February 1952, Elizabeth, then 25 years old, became queen of seven independent Commonwealth countries: the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and many more, as we earlier listed, as well as head of the Commonwealth. Elizabeth reigned as a constitutional monarch through major political changes such as the troubles in Northern Ireland. So we got it from that perspective, and we don't know how it's going to take the other shape. So, significant events include Elizabeth's coronation in 1953 and the celebration of her silver, golden, diamond, and platinum jubilee in 1977, 2002, 2012, and 2022, respectively. Elizabeth was the longest live and longest reigning British monarch and the second longest reigning sovereign in war history, only behind Louis XIV of France. She faced occasional Republican sentiment and media criticism of her family, particularly after the breakdowns of the children marriages. Her alumnus burials in 19 horribilis in 1992 and the death of her former daughter-in-law, Diana. So those are the life of our precious queen. May her soul rest in perfect peace. And our condolence to the people of Britain and the Commonwealth nations in general. You continue to live in peace. So that is how it happens, and that is how the Queen of England have lived her life up to the point where we had to say rest in peace and condolences messages to the deserved families as we see it unveiled here with many details concerning her demist on earth here with the trials and all the work she have been on it. So guys, we see Queen Elizabeth II, and that is was the Queen of the United Kingdom from 6th of February 1952 until her death on 8th of September 2022. Her reign of 70 years and 214 days was the longest of any British monarch and the second longest record of any monarchy of sovereign country. So that is it. Born on 21st of April 1926 in Boston Street, London, United Kingdom. Died on September 8, 2022 at Balmoral Castle, United Kingdom. So her full name was Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Winson Spurs. His husband was Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, and he died in 2021. That was a remarkable moment in the life of Queen Elizabeth, who will be the queen after Queen passed away. So we don't know. We already knew that King Charles is going to take over and he's the heir apparent to the throne. As we say, the heir apparent to the throne is now Charles' elder son, William 40, known as the Duke of Cambridge. Next in line is William's eldest child, Prince George, who is 9, and then Princess Charlotte, 7, and Prince Louis, 4. So those are the criteria that concerns the heir to the throne of this great kingdom. We already have Charles, the eldest son, who is in power after the Queen of England, and we have as the procedures and the leaves goes to the bottom.